Good evening, Facebook friends and family. My name is Samia Bingham. I am the founder and CEO of Flavors. You can find us on Instagram at Flavors Nation, on Facebook at Flavors Nation, Instagram Flavors Nation. Our website is whatsyourflavor.co. You can find us on these internet webs. So we are coming to you for our first Sunday edition of Kitchen Conversations After Dark, and we have a special guest for you guys tonight, and this is pastry chef Nakia of Baked and Brunch, another sweet treat here in Prince George's County, and definitely want to allow her to come in, introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her business, and we're gonna talk some inspiration tonight. It's Sunday, it's Family Day. And we're just going to talk about, how she's balancing, family and being a culinary entrepreneur in Prince George's County, how we can absolutely support her business, and just, what she has coming up in the future. So without further ado, let's bring in Chef Nakia.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this special Sunday edition.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know how we do this? Our first question to you, is going to be, what's your flavor? So, Chef Nikhil, what's your flavor?
Unlike most people, I didn't have a long background in baking. It kind of came to me as a form of therapy. Most people that know me know my story, and about 6 years ago, I lost my fiance. And one of the things that helped me get through that time was baking. And I ultimately enrolled in a culinary program. And that really gave me the hope and really gave me something to look forward to. And not long after that, I became a resident of Prince George's County and realized that there wasn't really a lot at the time in terms of healthy sweet treats. In the county, you had to go either to DC, Virginia, or a different county, and even Whole Foods in College Park is new. There weren't really many options, and like most people, sweets, I just can't give up. So my way of kind of meeting in the middle was to find healthy ways to make things. So a lot of my ingredients I either source locally by going to farmers markets, or I found a lot of USDA certified organic suppliers that make different flours and sugars and other staple ingredients that don't have any additives, preservative, chemicals. Um, and I actually hope one day to be able to grow a lot of my own produce so that I know exactly, what's going into it, and I can 100% confirm there aren't any pesticides or any other harmful chemicals. And COVID really has made consumers a lot more conscientious of what's going into their bodies. And I hope that once this is all over, I can resume being in pop up shops so that consumers that have different questions, I can meet them face to face, go over what's in my products, and hopefully make lifelong customers.
I love it. So, Chef, you said something very interesting that I definitely want to dive into. So, you said healthy and sweet treats in the same sentence. So, let's talk a little bit about that, because you don't normally get healthy and sweet treats in the same sentence.
Yeah, you can. So the sugars that I use are certified organic, and in some of my things, I don't use sugar. I've used for my vegan options, which I didn't learn until recently, that honey is actually considered an animal product. So you can't classify something as vegan if it contains honey. So if people have some type of adversity to sugar, I can use agave as a supplement and still market it as vegan.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So that definitely is a different spin. And I know with, us all trying to be more health conscious of what we're putting in our bodies, that's super important. And then to know that there are desserts that we can enjoy that are not going to be, they're not going to pack on another 20 pounds just from eating them. And of course, in moderation, right? We can't sit there and eat cupcakes and pies all day and then talk about, oh, but chef said that it was healthy. So good. So definitely thank you so much for that. So talk to us about the types of products that you sell in your business and why, or the types of customers that you serve.
I There are a handful of other vegan bakeries in the county. A lot are fellow entrepreneurs. Haven't really come across too many that have their own brick and mortar at the moment, but I try to focus on baked goods as a whole. So I have breads, rolls, pies, cakes, cupcakes, um, pretty much anything that you can think of that's a baked good, I pretty much can make. And I can pretty much supplement most things to make them a vegan option also.
So some of your items are vegan and some are not.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. I want to make sure I clarify that for those
Yes.
that don't want the vegan options. Um,
Yeah.
so talk to us about, you said that you had relocated, after your tragedy, of course, relocated to Prince George's County. Talk to us about how it's been being a new entrepreneur, culinary entrepreneur, especially in Prince George's County.
It's definitely been a little more challenging. For pretty much all of my adult life, I've lived either in DC or Montgomery County, and it's definitely been different living in Prince George's County. It's unfortunate that there aren't the abundance of, there isn't as much access to things as there were in Montgomery County. Within a 10-mile radius, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Well, I mean, there were so many options for grocery stores, whereas here I have to travel a little bit of a distance if I want to go to a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods. Luckily, Wegmans isn't too far from where I live, but it's unfortunate that we don't have the same resources in Prince George's County that are available to residents in other counties. And I hope that I can ultimately open a brick and mortar location in Prince George's County so that residents don't have to travel to neighboring counties or out of state if they want healthy options.
Does that affect how you are able to source your ingredients? The fact that you do have to travel a little distance to go and get your product?
It does. And that's another reason why I actually preferred pop-up shops, because I could explain why my product may cost a little more than another product, because I do have to pay a little more for getting an organic ingredient that is of superior quality to the regular flour or the regular sugar that you can purchase in the grocery store.
Hmm. So with those challenges, let's talk about the flip side. So tell me about something exciting that has happened in your business that you're super proud of being able to accomplish.
I would say one of the biggest things, which is kind of funny, my mom is recently retired, and I'm actually still in culinary school. I have one more semester to go. And
Yeah.
my initial, thank you, my initial plan was to wait until I finished culinary school to launch my business. And my mom happened to come across my first pop up shop, and it's like, no, just register. You don't have anything to lose. And I'm very happy that I did listen to her and go ahead and participate in that first pop up, because it's led to additional pop ups that I've been invited to participate in.
I love it. Tell me about those pop-ups. Tell us about where they can find you. I know right now it's probably a little challenging, but just talk to us about your pop-up experience.
Pop-ups have actually been well, personally, first of all, as a consumer, I like going to pop-up shops, so it wasn't much of a decision for me to participate in one, knowing the different entrepreneurs that are usually accessible at these pop-up shops, and the variety of products and services that you can get all within the same location. Um, I've gotten a tremendous amount of feedback, good and bad, which has definitely been a great part of my learning process, and honestly was one of the driving forces behind me participating in pop-up shops, so that when I am ready and able to launch full time, I can use the suggestions and opinions that I've been getting at the pop-up shops to tweak and improve my product, so that I'm ready to give my customers my all.
And that's good for you, especially that you're open to wanting to make sure that you're receiving feedback, and that you're able to utilize that to make tweaks in your business. Because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get so how do I want to say? We're so protective of our. I don't like calling businesses my baby, because babies you change pampers, right? So a business is a business. We're in business to make money, to make a profit. So I just don't like saying my baby, my business is my baby. But being able to accept that and to know that like your business is something that you're growing for future generations, family and your generational wealth, and to be able to accept, some of the negativity that comes with being an entrepreneur, but being able to take that and just say, hey, you know what, I can do this a little better next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it doesn't hurt whether you may agree with some of the feedback you get. With you may agree with some of the feedback you receive. You may disagree, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to implement those suggestions or not. But it doesn't hurt at all.
Awesome. So, Chef, what would be some advice that you have? I know that, starting your business was definitely a challenge. Continuing on, especially with COVID, has been a challenge. But what have you learned during this time, during COVID, that you're able to apply to your business to make sure that when you do start doing your pop-ups again, and of course, when Flavors opens, that you're able to apply to your business?
COVID has definitely given me the opportunity to get as much free information as possible. I also work full time, and with COVID, I've been able to work from home. So having not having to commute those hours that I would have been spending on metro or driving into work, I've been able to take advantage of a lot of companies that are offering free resources to entrepreneurs. One, for example, is Hootsuite. They give a ton of information for social media, marketing, sales, anything that you could possibly think of that will help your business move forward. I would just say learn as much as you can and just be prepared for a stiff learning curve and just keep pushing forward, and you'll get no's and doors slammed in your face, but you just can't let that deter you if that's something that you're passionate about doing.
Absolutely. So it's hard. I think during COVID, we've seen a lot of businesses, start, which is, surprising in a pandemic. The one thing that I definitely attribute that to is the persistence to be able to create something for yourself. There have been a lot of layoffs, and then just knowing that, a company, and I'm talking about large companies and corporations, can't sustain during something like this, and should anything happen, you get laid off, fired, you have to go and get unemployment. And so I've definitely seen a lot more specifically, in the culinary field, businesses launch during this time. So, I definitely commend you for taking advantage of these free learning resources. Sometimes I get zoomed out though, like everybody wants some of your time. I mean, you probably check your email and it's like 10 invites. Everybody, I feel like during COVID, it's actually gotten a lot busier.
Yeah,
The fact that we're not commuting, it makes it that much more easier to just be at home and not have to worry about the traffic because traffic in the DC area that can be 2-3 hours
yeah,
on a day.
yes,
So that's cutting out almost 6 hours commuting time that you're able to now put towards your business when you're finished your full-time job. So that is, yeah. So that's the one thing I think that we've gotten out of this. But yeah, some weeks I'm zoomed out. I'm like, don't give me another invite to another nothing. Like, I'm tired. My brain hurts. Steph, what's next for you? I know culinary school is almost coming to an end. What do you see yourself doing? I guess this time next year. I think it's safe to say within a year we should have some kind of new normalcy. So, what does the next year look like for you and your business?
Prior to COVID, I had started mapping out a list of pop up shops that I wanted to participate in this year. Of course, that didn't happen. So I kind of just want to pick up where I left off and revisit a variety of pop up shops that would best suit my brand. And hopefully, they'll have opportunities next year for me to participate. And I also want to continue working on an e commerce side and tweaking that and figuring out the best way to get the same product you would buy from me at the pop up shop, the same quality being shipped to you at home.
That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. You talked a lot about the pop-ups. So for those individuals and companies that are finding a niche in creating pop-ups, what is important to you as a culinary entrepreneur when it comes to participating in a pop-up?
Usually, I try to do research. I mean, it's been harder with COVID, but prior to COVID, if they had events before the one that they invited me to, I would try to attend just to get a feel for what other vendors would participate, the type of consumers that targeted these events, and just to determine whether or not it would be a good fit for my brand. I've gotten invited to a couple of virtual pop up shops since COVID, um, but it's a little harder to determine whether or not those are a good fit. So I declined just because I didn't know too much about it. And because my brand is still new, I try to be careful with what I participate in, just so that there aren't any skewed depictions of my brand. I try to make sure that the brand image that I want to portray remains that way. So I try to pick which events to participate in.
And I think that's super, super important because, of course, with COVID came a lot of pop-ups. I'm not quite sure how a virtual pop-up will work when you're selling food. Now, I could see like a regular, just product that someone can ship you, but I think it would be a little challenging to participate as a food entrepreneur in a virtual pop-up. So yes, I definitely could see how that could be a little strange. To see how that would be, how you would be able to find some success in that.
Yeah.
So with the pop-up, and they're everywhere. One of the challenges that I've noticed with the pop-up scene is that the pop-up creator, the event curator, they don't do enough marketing on the front end, which can make it a challenge because the attendees or the vendors are looking for that walk through traffic. I've been to some pop-ups and I love pop-ups because I love finding new small business entrepreneurs to support. But sometimes it can be in like industrial parks, and that can make it super challenging. So I guess one of the main things that you look for when you are scoping out a pop-up shop before you actually become a vendor? What are those key things that you're looking for?
One of the main things I look for are costs and determining whether or not the venue and what other amenities are offered can actually make the cost make sense. If you're charging $1,000, but I have to bring my own table, you aren't really guaranteeing a certain amount of foot traffic, I would most likely decline because I don't see where I will make any return on my investment. But that's primary, determining what the main target consumer is that they are looking for and targeting, and whether or not I feel like that would actually make sense for my brand. Location is another thing because a lot of times you can't, like you said, rely on their marketing. So if it's in a location where there could be potential foot traffic, that's definitely a plus. The other vendors that are participating, if there are a bunch of other food baked good vendors, it probably wouldn't make sense for me to participate too, just because everyone isn't going to patronize all of the baked good vendors. And with pop-ups, for me personally, I bake the day of, so I wouldn't want to participate in anything where I would have just a tremendous amount of inventory remaining at the end of the event. And before COVID, one of my plans was to donate after the pop-up shops any excess products I had. But with COVID, I'm not sure if any of the shelters would
They're
necessarily.
like, nope, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, just somewhere where I feel comfortable, that when I'm bringing, I can at least sell the majority of what I'm bringing to the location or the event.
I love it. Yeah, pop-ups are super fun. I love them. I mean, you're able to find so many different types of companies to be able to support. But yeah, one of the things like I would love to see is, more marketing on the front end, not like the weekend before or, 2 weeks before, because that makes it super challenging, especially if people are looking for small businesses locally to support. So anyone out there, interested in doing some pop-ups, you heard Chef Nakia and her needs as a pop-up vendor. She absolutely loves the pop-up scene. So, just make sure that you're able to support your vendors with the type of clientele that they need, so that you'll come back. Because if you have success once, I'm sure it'll be easier for you to say yes to them again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chef, what is your? I know we're wrapping up, and your fur baby is like, "Mama, come on." Um, so, what is your parting advice for anyone, not necessarily a culinary entrepreneur, but just anyone interested in getting started? Your mom was one of your forces as well as your fiance. So, what is it that you would like to leave with someone that is like, I want to do something, I don't know what it is, and maybe I should wait until it's the right time. So, give us some parting advice on what you would tell those particular people.
I would definitely say don't wait. There's never a right time. You can just look at the plethora of millionaires and billionaires that just decided, I've done all that I can do. I'm tired of the 9 to 5 grind, and they just jumped out there. And years later, they're millionaires and billionaires. So I would definitely say it doesn't hurt to try if it's a side hustle that you start out with just to get your feet wet and you don't want to make any large investments. You could definitely just test the waters that way. And with Amazon and Etsy and all these other platforms that have zero to low cost fees to get started, is no excuse to not just do it if you have an interest in anything. And the same with, like I said earlier, the wealth of information from YouTube to Google to social media. If there's a subject area that you're interested in, if you just do a quick search, there's so much free information that you could get your hands on and determine whether or not that's the avenue that you want to go in. But I definitely wouldn't say to put it off, especially right now when you don't know, none of us know what the future is going to hold and how long COVID is going to remain.
So just take the time now, take the free time when you have the free time. We know, we all have to make money. We have to, work our jobs or looking for a job to pay those bills. But you heard it straight from Chef Nakia of Baked and Brunch that don't wait, get your business registered. We talked about this. That's been a consistent theme over our last few kitchen conversations after dark episodes that, don't wait, just get something going. So I appreciate you sharing that. So as we wrap up, what is for dinner and dessert?
For dinner tonight, I actually have homework. And my homework is to make a beef goulash, mashed potatoes, and a green vegetable of my choice. I actually went to the farmer's market earlier. So we'll either have Brussels sprouts or mixed vegetables is a green vegetable and pound cake.
That sounds delicious. Well, I want to thank you so much for spending your Sunday evening with us. I'm going to come out of the frame and give you your 1 minute to just tell people how they can follow you, how they can support you, any pop-ups or any events that you have coming up. If not, that's okay. But just let everyone know how they can follow you and how they can support your business.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You can find me on Instagram at Baked and Brunched. You can also find me on Facebook at Baked and Brunched also, or you can reach me via email, Nakia at bakedandbrunch.com. Any of those will give you direct access to me. My website also, bakedandbrunch.com, where you can view my menu of options, also has price lists, and also if you want to place an order, you can do so through the website, or you can email me directly at Nakia at bakedandbrunch.com, or alternatively info at bakedandbrunch.com. Thank you. Bye.
So Nakia, can you spell out how you're found on IG? Is it baked? You can go ahead. I'll let you do that.
Or it's Baked Brunched. So no and or no space. It's just one word, Baked Brunched on IG.
So Baked Brunch, BAKED Brunch, yes, on IG and Facebook.
Yes.
Sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And I will chat with you soon.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, you guys heard it here. We got to spend a little bit of time with Chef Nakia of Baked and Brunch. And you can find, again, her on IG at Baked Brunch. And follow her, support her business. And so I want to thank you guys for spending your Sunday evening with us. Again, my name is Samia Bingham. I am the founder and CEO of Flavors. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Flavors Nation. We are wrapping up our campaign, our crowdfunding campaign. You can head over to our website at whatsyourflavor.co and find out more about us, what we're doing in the community, and what we're bringing to Prince George's County, specifically for our culinary food and beverage entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I will see you again on September 30th. We have our final interview on September 30th. That'll close out our campaign, and then we'll pick some things back up in October. A few little surprises along the way as we wrap up the end of the year and get ready to head into our holidays. So Support local, buy local. And I will see you on September 30th. Have a great night, guys.